Crystals Collide, Flower Guardian, a Like a Monkey Kid AU story written by Coral Animates. Also being read by me. Chapter 1, The Lotus Crystal. Our story starts 7 years ago, deep in the forest. The rain is heavy with no signs of stopping anytime soon, making the place look almost dark. As we cut to the forest, footsteps can be heard running through the wet and muddy ground. A young mystic monkey, who was 13 during this time, was running through the large forest trying to get away, find shelter, anything. She just didn't want to be seen. Dark cracks covers parts of her face, including her right eye, a bandage covering them up, and carrying a bag by her side to keep a very important item safe. This was a runaway traveler. Her name was Coral. Shoot! Why did it have to rain now? Of all the worst times? Never mind that. There's gotta be a way out of here or something. As she was thinking to herself, she suddenly slipped on the wet gravel path she was running on. It caused her to slide and roll a bit until she landed face first into some mud. As she lifted her face up a bit, she suddenly saw something glow in the distance. It looked almost pink. Huh? What's that thing over there? She said to herself. She picked herself up and slowly made her way to the shining object as the rain continues to pour down. She reaches the glowing light and is revealed to be a lotus flower. Not just any kind, though. This one was crystallized. She saw its picture in a book she has with her, but didn't think it was real. Until now. Hesitantly, she reached out to the lotus crystal and picked it up, looking at it curiously. What's a crystal doing in a place like this? I wonder where it came from. Did it fall from somewhere? Or did this just appear? Well, regardless, I can't have this fall into the wrong hands. It's best for me to keep it safe. As she was about to put it in her bag, the crystal suddenly glowed bright. It caught her off guard as she covered her eye a bit to block out the light. As the glowing dies down, she regains her vision and looks around a bit. What in the world was that all about? As she was questioning herself, she suddenly heard a booming voice out of nowhere, almost like an echo. "Don't come any closer, young one," the mystery voice said. This alarmed Coral as she frantically looked around on who spoke to her. Hello? Is someone there? She yelled out. She then saw some glowing lotus petals. They floated in front of her, and before her very eyes, they revealed a person. He had red marks under his eyes, having floral markings on his arms, flower petals at the ends of his flowing red ribbon. He wears a lotus flower on his head, and his eyes glow a radiant pink. This was revealed to be a god, the third lotus prince, Neza, the god of the lotus flower. His sudden appearance made Coral scared as she stumbled back in surprise, but that caused her to slip again and fall on her back. As she sat up on the ground and looked up at him, catching her breath, she put her hand on the bandage covering where her right eye would be, trying to process what she is seeing. Neza had a bit of a shock on his face as well, not because he was scared or anything, but because no one's ever picked up his crystal before. What in creation is this? I never had someone stumble upon my crystal until now, let alone get this close to me, he said in his head. As he observed her, he noticed the dark cracks on her face as well as her covering her eye. His curiosity turns to a bit of concern. Your eye! He rushed over to her in the wet grass. He crouches down to her level to check on her. How did this happen? Are you all right? He asks in concern. Coral's tail curled up a bit as she saw him get close. She'd never seen someone like him before. Turns out the book she stole from the king really wasn't lying. The flower gods were in fact real. Who are you? She said, stumbling a bit on her words and catching her breath. The prince then spoke up. I am the guardian of the lotus flower, but most call me Neza. The wind blows as the rain continues to fall a little less in the dark forest, his aura glowing bright around him. It looks like you've picked up my flower, so that means I'm your guardian now. What is your name? He asks with content. Coral blinks a little as she looks at the lotus crystal in her hand, trying to process his words. A guardian? She said to herself, getting lost in thought. After a few moments, she shakes her head to answer his question. My name is Coral. I'm no flower god or anything like that. Just a runaway traveler. She says, getting up, trying not to seem awkward. She wasn't always the best at conversations. Anyways, I'm a green flower wielder. Or the last of them anyways, she said in a low tone. As Neza listens to her, he still wants to know about the darkened cracks on her. What happened to you? Why are you damaged? He asked her. Coral knows exactly what he's referring to as she removes her hand a bit from her bandage. Well, my face isn't the only part that's like this. The reason why is because... She begins to roll up her sleeves and gloves, revealing more dark cracks on her arms and hands, as well as scars. She also removes her bandage, revealing nothing but a huge dark crack covering her eye, blinding her in a sense. It's a curse, and it's causing me to slowly break. Neza's eyes widen, a look of shock, worry, and anger. By the gods, what has the king done to you? Coral was surprised that he knew who did this to her. But before she could say anything, the rain stopped, and the sun was beginning to set in the horizon. Neza knew she couldn't stay out here. Not like this. We need to get you somewhere safe. Quickly, he said, determined. Coral looked down a little bit as she rolled her sleeves back up, put her gloves back on, and covered up her eye once more with the bandage. But I've been running for miles. I don't want to stop here, and besides, I don't know where else to go, she said to him. Before she realized, she was suddenly picked up by Neza, cradling her in his arms like she was a child, which she was during this time. He then spoke. I am your guardian now, and I'll make sure that you never get hurt again. Coral blinked twice as she tries to process what the fuck is happening. Before she could speak again, Neza held her close as a way of telling her to hold on. Don't be scared, young one. It is my job to protect you, and that's exactly what I'll do. But we need to get you somewhere safe. And with that, Neza then started to run towards the cliffside. This made Coral panic a little and shout out. Hey, wait! That's a cliff! What are you doing? She yelled, holding on to him. I've got this, now hang on! He said as he jumped down the cliffside. He held her tight to make sure that she didn't fall. Eventually, he landed and then continued to run, hoping to find a safe place. To be continued in part 2. Thanks for listening.